$1,300 US. That's how much I paid for my round the world ticket. And that price includes all the flight tickets and train tickets. It doesn't include any hotels. This is per person. I will be traveling with my daughter this July and August. We will be visiting 12 countries. We will leave Hong Kong and fly to Cambodia. Then I'll take a bus to Vietnam. From Vietnam, we will fly to Australia. From Australia, we will go to Hawaii. And then we will go to Canada. From Canada, we will go back to the US. We will go to Los Angeles. And then we will fly out to New York. And from New York, we fly to London. And then we will go to Ireland. From Ireland, we will go to France, and then from France we will take a train to Germany, and from Germany we will fly to Italy, and in Italy we will also visit Vatican City, and our last stop will be Egypt, and we will fly back to Hong Kong from Egypt. If you look online, some people say that round the world tickets are $5,000. Some people say it's $10,000, but I managed to buy it for $1,300. And I'm here to share with you some tips on how you buy cheap tickets. I mean, this is my third time around the world. I went around the world 30 years ago, and I think that there are more choices today and tickets are cheaper nowadays. So the first thing to remember is different dates, different prices. If you have time and you are flexible, then and you don't need to fly on a certain date, then it's easier to buy cheaper tickets. Also, I only buy tickets at the right price. I have a lot of time and I study the prices of flight tickets all the time, and I have an idea at the back of my mind how much tickets should cost. And if I don't see the ticket at the price that I want, then I don't buy it, or I wait. For example, the flight from Ireland to France, I paid 25 euros. I waited and waited and waited for 25 euros, and if I couldn't get it for 25 euros, then I just simply wouldn't go to France. So yeah, I mean, you have to have an idea how much tickets cost. For example, from New York to London, the price should be about $150. From Hong Kong to Japan, the price should be $65. From Brazil to Europe, the price of a one-way ticket should be about $300. Yeah. So if you're not getting these prices, then you shouldn't buy it at all. The other thing is, for me, I basically bought a lot of night flights. For example, I'm flying from Hawaii to Vancouver. That's a night flight. And also from New York to London is a night flight. So on the one hand, I save money because it means I don't need to spend one night in a hotel. But also, if I'm flying from west to east, that's my preferred direction, then going on a night flight also means that there is no jet lag. Usually, from my past experience, if I catch a flight at night time and the flight is roughly 7 or 8 hours, then I arrive at the destination in the morning, and there is usually no jet lag. And the other thing to remember is this: flight tickets are cheaper than train tickets and bus tickets when you when you take into account the distance. So always try to take flights and not trains, although there are exceptions. For example, if you fly from France to Germany, it is usually about 50 euros. So on this occasion, we are taking a train because my daughter, who is 3 years old, doesn't have to pay for a train ticket, but she gets a seat on the train. And we paid 56 euros to travel from France to Germany, but that's just an exception. Also, when you're buying round the world tickets, from my experience, I think it's important to buy the transatlantic tickets first, and also the tickets from Asia to America. Now, some people might want to fly from east to west, but I prefer west to east. But in any case, I would buy these tickets first because it's relatively easy to buy a ticket from the US West Coast to the East Coast. And likewise, it's also very easy to buy a ticket from Europe to Asia. You just have to search around, and then you should be able to find cheap tickets. But I usually buy the transatlantic tickets first, and also the flights from Asia to America first. The other thing to remember is that direct flights are more expensive. So if you fly from, say Cairo to Shenzhen, direct flight, it costs more money. But if you fly from Cairo to Beijing and with a stopover in Beijing and then to Shenzhen, it will cost you roughly 40 or 50% more. So you try to go on the indirect flights, although I don't like being on a plane for more than 9 hours, which is the reason why on this occasion I chose Hawaii as a stopover. But I wouldn't call it a stopover, because a stopover implies that you are at the airport for 3 or 5 hours. In this case, Hawaii is not a stopover because I'm actually getting off the plane and I'm spending time in Hawaii. But the point is, if you're going on a round the world trip, flying from Asia to North America is going to be the longest trip. It's easily 14 hours, and it's best to have a stopover somewhere in the middle. But of course, if you're flying from Japan to US, it doesn't take 14 hours. So, if you're starting off in China or Hong Kong, then Japan could be a place where you can stop over, have a rest for a few days before you continue your trip to the US. The other tip I have is this: if you arrive at a city, say New York, I wouldn't spend the time and the money to explore Boston and Washington just because they are nearby. If you look on the map, both Boston and Washington are only roughly 3 hours away from New York City. But like I said, flights are actually cheaper than the bus and the train most of the time. So you shouldn't waste money on buses and trains going to other cities. You just fly to New York, stay in New York for your trip, and then fly off to another city. In my case, we're flying to New York, and then we'll spend some time in New York, and then we will fly straight to London. Okay, I think that's all for today. Hopefully in July and August, both my daughter and I will not be sick and we will be able to complete this round the world trip.